Probability distribution is a concept which we can extend from the frequency distribution. In a frequency distribution, we have two columns. In one column, we have either x or interval. In the other column, we have the frequencies. If we have these two columns, one contains the variable, other contains the frequency, we know this table is known as frequency distribution. In the same way, if we extend one more column here, and that column is known as relative frequency. Suppose your frequency is 2, 3, and 9. And total will be 14. So your relative frequency will be what? 2 divided by 14, 3 divided by 14, 9 divided by 14, and the total will be 1. Total of the relative frequencies will also be 1. This relative frequency distribution can be expressed in the form of px, or we can call it as a column of probabilities. And if we have two columns into the table, one is x and other is px, then that table is referred to as probability distribution. The probability distribution is an extension of the frequency distribution. We can construct a probability distribution by frequencies, by relative frequencies. So in other words, I can describe the probability distribution in the very simple way. It is a tabular definition of the probability distribution. A probability distribution is a table in which we have one variable which is known as the random variable x, and corresponding probabilities we have px. If we have a table in which we have two columns, one is x, other is px, then this table is known as probability distribution. Suppose we have 6 values of this random variable x, and their probabilities are equally likely, means it is 1 by 6 all over there. And total will be 1. We can say that it is a probability distribution. Total is 1. So there are the two conditions for a table that we can declare as a probability distribution. One condition is total of all probabilities is 1. That is summation fx is equal to, summation px is equal to 1 for all values of x. For all values of x means, suppose if we are referring this table, then we have the values of x as x is equal to 1 to 6. If we add all the probabilities from if we add all the probabilities from 1 to 6 and the total becomes 1, we can call this table as a probability distribution. Other condition that this table must fulfill is known as, that condition is all probabilities are greater than 0, or that may be equal to 0. The probabilities may be greater than or equal to 0, and the sum of probabilities is again equal to 1. Then if a table fulfill these two conditions, we can call such table as a probability distribution. So that is a very simple description of a probability distribution. So if before the probability distribution, all of you are familiar with the concept of probabilities. The individual value, we were computing the probabilities for the individual values separately. Now what we are doing in a probability distribution, we are accumulating all probabilities along with the all values of the random variable. This is known as probability distribution. In a probability distribution, one more thing is important, and that thing is what? That thing is the probability distribution can be represented into three different forms. What that forms are? That forms are: probability distribution can be represented in tabular form. Second thing is it can be represented in the function form. Third one is can be represented by graphically. So we can represent the probability distribution either in tabular form. This is the concept of the tabular form of the probability distribution. We can represent the probability distribution by a mathematical function or a formula. This is known as functional form of a probability distribution. Or in the third way, we can represent a probability distribution by a graph or the probability histogram. The same distribution can be represented by a function as fx or px is equal to 1 by 6 because it is a uniform function, and all values of x are what? X is equal to 1, 2, 3, so on up to 6. This is the functional form of the same distribution. This is the distribution when a fair die is rolled once. If a fair die is rolled once, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any of these 6 digits can appear randomly with the equal probabilities. So this is the tabular form of this distribution, and this is the functional form of the distribution, same distribution. If I want to express this in a graph, then we have to construct 1 by 6 is the height of all probabilities. So all over there we have 1 by 6. At 1 we have the height of 1 by 6. At 2 we have the height of 1 by 6, and so on. At 6 we have the height of 1 by 6. So all over there we have the same line. We have this line of height 1 by 6. This is your 1, this is your 2, and this is your 6. We can construct a histogram. How can we construct a histogram? Because this is the table of a discrete random variable. So we can add 0.5, we can have this point, we can subtract 0.5 as we did in the class boundaries. We have this point, and we are constructing the bars by using these class boundaries. So if I did the same thing for all the rest of the bars, then we have this graph. This is the homogeneous graph of height, same height, which is 1 by 6, because all over there we have. This is called uniform distribution because the probabilities are uniform or the probabilities are same. So this is known as uniform, discrete uniform distribution. Discrete uniform
Sir, can you
distribution.
please repeat the discrete uniform distribution का?
Okay. In a uniform distribution, the probabilities remain same. That is why we are calling it as uniform or homogeneous. And it is a discrete random variable because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there is nothing in between 1 and 2. There is nothing in between 1, 2, and 3. So this random variable is a discrete random variable. So in a discrete random variable, if the probabilities are homogeneous or same, then such distribution can be called as discrete uniform distribution. So in a discrete uniform distribution, this is the tabular form of a discrete uniform distribution. This is the function form of a discrete distribution, and this is the graphical form of a discrete distribution. I am pausing the recording here. You can ask the question. In a cumulative distribution, it is generally represented by capital Fx. So capital Fx is what? Capital Fx is the representation of cumulative probabilities, not cumulative frequencies. This is not cumulative frequency, this is cumulative probability. So you can add consecutive probabilities to this. Initially it is 1 by 6, then 1 by 6 will be added to this 1 by 6, becomes 2 by 6, and then 2 by 6 will be added to the 1 by 6, this 1 by 6, we have 3 by 6, and so on. Lastly, we have 6 by 6. This is your 6 by 6. So every time whenever we have a cumulative probabilities, it is it is 1. The last cumulative probability will also and always be 1. And you have to add successively the rest of the probabilities to the previous one. You will have this. If we are interested to make a graph of this distribution, so we can construct the graph of this distribution, which is known as ogive, or a graph of a cumulative probabilities. This is known as ogive, or a graph of cumulative probabilities. Now, how ogives are constructed? So initially at 1, you have 1 by 6. This is 1 by 6. This is 2 by 6. This is 3 by 6. 4 by 6. 5 by 6. This is 6 by 6. So at 1, we have a point here. At 2, we have a point here. At 3, we have a point here. At 4, we have a point here, and so on. At 6, we have a point at 6 by 6. So this can be constructed as a step graph. This is your step graph. And it is always be the step graph in a discrete distribution. So, and it is always be increasing in order, because its cumulative probabilities will again also always be increasing in order, and its maximum value will always be equal to 1. So that is basically a cumulative distribution. Cumulative distribution will give us a very tremendous rule, because most of the probability tables are in cumulative form. As all of you listen, the table of normal distribution is in the form of the cumulative probability, as well as sometimes the table of binomial probabilities will also be given in the form of cumulative probabilities. The cumulative probability is very helpful for us for determining any probability within any interval, known as rectangular distribution. In a rectangular distribution, the height of each bar is same. But if your distribution is not rectangular, then it have a different height of each bar, and somewhere it is a positive skewed distribution, sometimes it is a normal distribution, sometimes it is a negative skewed distribution. So it's depend on the probabilities whatever we have in the situation. But in case of discrete uniform distribution, the bar of the height of each bar is constant, and always we have a rectangle over there. And in case of cumulative, it is a step function, and it is always a step function. But in uniform, the size of a step is same. Suppose it is 0.5 inch, then it is again 0.5 inch, it is again 0.5 inch. The each step having a height of 0.5 inch. But in case where the distribution is not uniform, the height of each step may vary, but it is always be an upward graph. That is important for a cumulative distribution. This is the agenda of this presentation: random variable, the probability distribution, the expected values, the mean of the distribution. Expected values is referred to as EX, expected value of X. It is nothing, is the mean of the variable X. Can also be represented as a mean mu of variable X, or in simple, if it is a sample mean, can be represented by X bar. So So Ex, or the expected value, is nothing. It is the mean of the variable X. Then binomial distribution, as I told you, is the part of, and the Poisson distribution is an extension of the binomial distribution. Then continuous random variable, we have a normal distribution and some computer functions we have to describe here for finding the probabilities of the Poisson, binomial, and normal distribution. That is the end of this presentation. Whenever we have a biased die, when we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we do not have any idea about the probability of each dot, it is given that the even digit having the double probability as the odd digit. Suppose odd digit have a probability of A, then even digit have a probability of 2A. So it is 2A, it is A, it is 2A, it is A, it is 2A. And according to the definition of the probability distribution, the sum of all probabilities will be equal to 1. So this is 9A. And if we solve this by this function, sum of all probabilities equal to 1. So then 9A, we will get an equation, and that equation is 9A is equal to 1, and the value of A is equal to 1 over 9. So we can say that the probability of odd digit is 1 upon 9, and probability of even digit will be 2 upon 9. Hence, we can summarize this table as all these A's will becomes 1 upon 9. Now I can write down it is 1 upon 9. It is 2 upon 9. 1 upon 9, and so on. It is 2 upon 9. Total becomes 9 upon 9. It is 1. This is your random variable. Suppose the random variable is represented by y, and the probabilities are represented by py. So this is your complete probability distribution. But over this slide, you have to compute only one probability, and that probability is the probability of having 3 dots. It means the answer of this is only this probability of 3 dots. Probability of 3 dots can be represented by probability x is equal to 3. And probability x is equal to 3 is equal to 1 over 9. This table is called probability distribution, and it has the 2 characteristics. One of them is total of all probabilities is 1. We can say that sum of px is equal to 1. And the second is none of the probability is negative, means all probabilities are greater than or equal to 0 for all values of x. Whatever value of x we will substitute into this function, we will have. Can any one of you tell me the functional form of this distribution? Because we can write down this probability table into a function, and because we have the 2 versions of the probability, either 1 by 9 or 2 by 9, so such functions are referred to as piecewise function. So this piecewise function of the probabilities can be written as px is equal to 1 upon 9. You have to write down a brace here. In the brace, we have the 2 forms. One is 1 upon 9 and other is 2 upon 9. And then you have to write down all values of x. For x is equal to 136, no 5. And this part of the function will act whenever we have x is equal to 2, 4, and 6. So we have this type of functions are referred to as piecewise function. For these values of x, this part of the function will act, otherwise 2 by 9. And if we add all the probabilities, then it will be 1. So this is the way of writing the function in which we have the two different probabilities that can be summarized by two different values. You can construct the histogram by two values. One is 1 upon 9. This is 1 upon 9. And this is 2 upon 9 of equal height. And for 135, we have 1 upon 9. This is 1, 2, 3 equal distances. At the equal distances, you have to place the mark 4, 5, and 6. And you have to create a bar of height 1 upon 9 here, 1 upon 9 here, 1 upon 9 here. And in all of the remaining points, we have a bar of height 2 upon 9. So 2 upon 9 here, 2 upon 9 here, and 2 upon 9. And then class boundaries can be constructed like this. This is 0.5 added and 0.5 subtracted. Similarly, from 2, subtract 0.5, you will be here, and this is the graph. This is the graph. At 3, this is the graph. At 4, this is the graph. At 5, this is the graph. At 6. This is called probability histogram. And you can construct ogive in the same way by computing cumulative probabilities. Your cumulative probabilities are 1 by 9, 3 by 9, 4 by 9, 6 by 9, 7 by 9, and then 9 by 9. Then you have a step function, but the steps are not equal in height. One step is of height, suppose it is of height 1 inch, then the other step is of height 2 inch, then 1 inch, then 2 inch, and so on. So I am just giving you an expression. Okay, this is your step of 1 inch. Then we have a step of 2 inch. Then we have a step of 1 inch. Then we have a step of 2 inch, and so on. So all over there we have this type of activity: one height, 1 inch height, 2 inch height, 1 inch height, 2 inch height, and then we have this is called ogive, or a cumulative probability graph. So in this way you can construct the cumulative probability graph. This is the formal definition of random variable and the probability distribution. A random variable x is a function that assigns the single but variable. Single means whenever we have a single value, its probability will be same or will be changed. But the single value we have. And each value of x having a corresponding probability with it, which is associated with it. So that is the definition of discrete random variable. Your random variable may be continuous, your random variable will be discrete. This is the slide which is relevant with the discrete random variable. In the case of continuous random variable, we have the two more distribution. One is uniform continuous distribution, exponential distribution, or we may have a distribution like normal distribution or standard normal distribution. Also, that three distribution that we have to discuss in this course, T distribution, the F distribution, and the chi-square distribution. These distribution are also be the continuous distribution, which will be the extension of this concept. Now, business example of random variable, RV. I will use the RV for the random variable. The return on an investment in 1 year period. So in on every day or any or at an every point in the year, when we get a return, that point will be the value of this random variable. Suppose on every quarterly we have a return, or every monthly we have a return, or whatever we have. So this the time is basically the value of this period. Now, the price of an equity is also an example of random variable. The number of customers entering a store is an example of random variable. This is the example of continuous variable because price is continuous. While the third one is a discrete variable because the number of customers entering a store may be 50, maybe 400, maybe 200, maybe 100. So this is a discrete random variable. This is discrete, while this is continuous. This is also the return on investment in 1 year period. This is also continuous. Return amount is continuous. The time at which we get that return is discrete. So there is a, if we are describing the amount, return amount is the variable, then return amount is continuous. If we are defining the point at which we will get that return, that point is discrete. As I told you, quarterly we are getting, or monthly we are getting, or hourly we are getting, because sometimes we are getting the return on an hourly basis. So that is the time. If time is the random variable, then is the data is the time series data, and time is a discrete interval we have here, and the amount of return is continuous. Now, the sales volume of a store on a particular day is also continuous because on day one, what the sale was, on day two, what the sale was, and so on is a continuous variable. The turnover rate at your organization next year is a random variable. So these are the few examples of the random variables. Some of them are discrete variable, but other are continuous random variable. These discrete random variable, like the number of customers entering a store, we may have some computer science example, like the number of users at an internet server. So the number of users which are right now connected with the server is another example of discrete random variable. Now in this slide, we have a discrete and continuous random variable. Discrete random variable has a countable number of possible values, has a discrete jump or gap between the successive values, has measurable probabilities associated with the individual values. These are counts: the number of customers, the number of students, the number of pages, the number of transactions, the number of customers hit at an internet server. So all these are discrete. Continuous random variable has an uncountably infinite number of possible values. Because suppose we are interested to have a variable in between 1 and 2, then in between 1 and 2 we have infinite number if it is continuous, but in between 1 and 2 there is nothing if it is discrete, because more than 1 and less than 2 there is no integer we have which is less than 1, less than 2 and greater than 1. If it is discrete, then nothing will be in this interval. If it is continuous, we may have infinite number of values in between 1 and 2. So that is basically the concept of discrete and continuous. Moves continuously from value to value, has no measurable probability associated with each value. This is very important. As we have in the tabular form of a discrete table, we cannot construct a tabular form of a continuous variable, continuous distribution. The reason is, at a specific point, we do not have any specific probability. Here is the concept of area. So area is always be in between the 2 points. Area will not be at a single point. Suppose we have the 2 points 1 and 2. So we do not have a specific probability at 1. We do not have a specific probability at 2. But we may have a probability which is greater than 1. We may have a probability in between 1 and 2. These are the concept, which are the concept of area. So in the case of continuous distribution, there is a no measurable probability associated at single outcome. At single outcome means at 1 we have nothing, at 2 we have nothing. We may have the area in between 1 and 2. So area between 1 and 2 can be computed, but the probability at 1 cannot be computed in case of this continuous variable. Probability at 2 cannot be computed at the case of, in the case of continuous distribution. But these two probabilities can be, suppose I am writing this probability x is equal to 1. So in case of discrete distribution, the probability of x is equal to 1 may exist. It may be 0.5, it may be 0.25, it may be 0. But in case of continuous distribution, it's always be 0. We cannot define, because area from 1 to 1 is 0. As you learn in the calculus, whenever we are computing the area, we use the integral sign. So area at 1 means what? Probability at 1. Probability x is equal to 1. Probability x is equal to 1 means the area from 1 to 1. And if we have both limits in the integral same, then the meaning of this is 0. Because in the integral, if the definite integral, if the lower limit and upper limit are same, the value of the integral will be 0. So in the case of continuous distribution, the probability at a specific point is 0. We can compute the area in between the 2 points. So this is the main concept and the main difference in between a discrete and the continuous random variable. These are the rules of discrete distribution. All probabilities are greater than 1. Sum of all probabilities are equal to 0. Sorry, sum of all probabilities are equal to 1. And probabilities is from 0 and up to 1. Uh, I already defined this slide. Now we have one example here, and I am stopping the recording. Suppose x is the random variable which is representing the number of questions solved correctly. This is representing number of questions solved correctly. The student have to answer all the 3 questions. Question number 1 is to be solved by the student. Question number 2 is to be solved by the student. Question number 3 is to be solved. There is no choice out of these 3 questions. So the second thing is what? The values of the random variable. What are the values of the random variable? We have to write down that values. Values are I can't see the menu of the Zoom. I think there is some error in the software. हो सकता है मैं रिकॉर्डिंग को पॉज करके दोबारा शुरू करूं, क्योंकि ये भी इस वक्त यहाँ कुछ डिफ़िकल्टी हो रही है। हो सकता है मीटिंग में क्लोज करूं और फिर दोबारा से इसको मीटिंग को ऑन करूं, आप दोबारा ज्वाइन कर लीजिएगा, ठीक है? क्योंकि ये एक जगह पे हैंग हो गया है जूम और यहाँ से आगे बढ़ नहीं रहा है। अब हो गया, सही हो गया। Represented as the number of questions solved correctly. So there is a possibility that student will answer all the question wrong. So x is equal to 0 means what? The all three questions are wrong. Out of three questions that he solved, one is correct, two are wrong, two are correct, or all the three are correct. So these are the all possibilities. Now we have to compute the probability of each point. Probability x is equal to 1. The meaning of probability x is equal to 0 means what? The probability of x is equal to 0 means what? Out of the three questions, none is solved correctly, means all are wrong. So all are wrong. Question number 1 is incorrect. So I'm just writing this q1 dash intersection q2 dash and intersection q3 dash. This is the way of computing these probabilities. Now intersection and the questions are solved independently. The intersection can be computed by just multiplying these probabilities. What is the probability of doing question number 1 incorrectly? This is 2 by 3, because one answer is correct and two are incorrect. The probability of doing question number 1 incorrectly is 2 by 3. Probability of doing question number 2 incorrectly is 3 by 4, because it has 4 choices, out of which 3 are incorrect, 1 is correct. And probability of doing question number 3 incorrectly is 1 by 2. So this is the probability, which is 6 upon 24. So do not eliminate the denominator and do not simplify the denominator, because we have to compute these probabilities with the same denominator. So these are the
सर तो
probabilities
हम
that can be have for x is equal to 0. In the same way, we have to write down the probability for x is equal to 1. Probability for x is equal to 1 have multiple options. What multiple options we may have? Question number 1 correct, 2 incorrect, 3 incorrect, plus question number 1 incorrect, 2 correct, 2 is correct, and question number 3 is incorrect. And the
सर तो ये
third,
काइंड ऑफ कॉम्बिनेशन ही हम बना रहे हैं ना सर?
yes. Probability of 1 is incorrect, 2 is incorrect, and 3 is correct. Now you have
सर आपने
to,
एक तरीका बोला था,
जी,
आपने एक तरीका बोला था कि कॉम्बिनेशन के बगैर भी हो सकता है, तो वो सर वो बाइनोमियल ही होगा, और किस
we
तरीके से हो सकता
cannot
है
apply the
कॉम्बिनेशन के बगैर?
binomial here. The reason is the probability of each outcome is not same for all the questions. So binomial is not the option for this question. The reason is probability of each question correctly solved have a different probability. Now we can have question number 1 correct is 1 by 3. Question number 2 incorrect, 3 by 4. Question number 3 incorrect is 1 by 2 plus probability question number 1 incorrect is 2 by 3. Question 2 correct is 1 by 4 and 1 by 2. And then we have probability question 1 incorrect 2 by 3 multiply by 2 incorrect 3 by 4 and 3 correct is 1 by 2. So you have denominator of 24. This is 3 plus 2 plus 6. So 3 plus 2 plus 6 becomes what? 11 upon, this probability is 11 upon 24. Now 6 upon 24, 11 upon 24, and the last is what? Probability x is equal to 2. This is not last because we have all the 3 questions may be correctly solved. So what is the probability of 2 and what is the probability of 3? X is equal to 3. Probability x is equal to 3 means all are correct. So question number 1 is correct, is 1 by 3. Question number 2 is correct, 1 by 4. Question number 3 is correct, 1 by 2. So this is 1 upon 24. 1 upon 24 we have here. And you can calculate for x is equal to 2 because all of such possibilities we have to add. 1 correct, 2 correct, 3 incorrect, 1 correct, 2 incorrect, 3 correct, 1 and 2 are correct, but 3 incorrect. So these 3 possibilities are to be added, then we have the probabilities of x is equal to 2. Have you done in this way or you use another technique for solving this question?
So the same technique.
Okay. So I have already defined the cumulative distribution or the distribution function. It is also known as distribution function. It is represented by capital F. And probability distribution is represented by small f. It is probability distribution as we were discussing on the previous slide. It is also represented by px. The px or fx is a probability distribution. PD, we use the term PD or PMF. PD or PMF, probability mass function. That is also a, if it is in a form of a function, it is called probability mass function. If it is written in the form of table, we can use the term PD or the probability distribution. And this can be represented by Px or Fx. This is the simple probability distribution. If it is a cumulative distribution, instead of writing small f, it is capital F. And the function have a graph of a step function as I told you earlier. So this is cumulative distribution function. If probabilities are 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, 0.1, then these are the cumulative probabilities. In the cumulative probability, the last value will always be 1. Construct a cumulative probability distribution of the problem number 2. Now, the mean of a probability distribution can be computed by EX. EX is basically the summation X PX, the weighted sum of X and PX. So X is multiplied by the PX, then the total of all these. If it is a continuous function, then this can be computed by integral X Fx dx. If it is a continuous function, then it is the integral of X Fx dx. If it is a discrete function, it is just a product of column X and Px and the total of this column. This is called the mean of X. Mean of X is also be represented by the symbol mu and the X over there. Or we can, in simple, we can call it as X bar. mean of x, mean of x, mean of x, e of x, all are the same. All are the same things which are represented differently.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है, वो जो x fx और dx वाला फॉर्मूला
In case of discrete, all over there in formulas we have sigma, and that sigma will be converted to the integral sign in case of continuous. So in case of continuous we have an integral sign, in case of discrete we have a sigma sign. Meaning of the both are same. This is sum, this is also the sum. Integral is a sum. Integrate means the sum. Differentiate means the subtraction. The expected value, I'm not repeating it. The column x into px is formed and the total is 2.3. That is the mean of x. Mu or ex or mu x, that are the notation which we can use. The variance can be computed by expected value of x minus mean whole square. And in simple, you have x total of x minus mean whole square p times px. In expanded form, you have expected value of x square minus expected value of x whole square. Or in sigma form, you have x square px. This is the mean of x square. This is the square of mean of x. In bracket, what we have here? In bracket, we have the mean of x and the square of that. What we have here, this is the mean of x squares. Because x square times px and a total of this is called mean of x square. Standard deviation is the square root. All of you are already familiar with the standard deviation. Find a mean and variance of the probability distribution in problem number 2. Now we have a next topic is the Chebyshev theorem. Chebyshev theorem will gives us the probability of the percentage number of observation lies between mean minus plus 2 sigma, 3 sigma, and so on. Suppose we are interested to compute the probability of x minus x bar plus minus k sigma. X bar plus minus k sigma, this sum is having the probability at least means greater than or equal to. It is greater than or equal to what? It is greater than or equal to 1 minus 1 upon k square. Whatever the value of k we have, suppose the k value of k, suppose I am putting 2. If k is 2, this is x bar plus minus 2 sigma. If I am using it as 3, it is x bar plus minus 3 sigma. This probability can be computed by simply x bar plus minus 2 sigma is greater than equal to 1 minus 1 upon 2 square. It is 1 minus 1 upon 4. It is equal to 75%. In case of percentage, it is 75%. In case of probability, it is 0.75. Meaning what? Meaning what in our data? The number of observations lies between the mean minus 2 sigma and the mean plus 2 sigma. This is one interval. Mean minus 2 sigma is the lower value of the interval. Mean plus 2 sigma is the upper value of the interval. Within this interval, how many percentage of observation lies between them is 75%. If I am using it as a third x bar plus minus 3 sigma, it means we are putting the value of k as 3. So it is equal to 1 minus 1 upon 3 square, 1 minus 1 upon 9. It is 8 by 9. 8 by 9 is the probability. In percentage is 88.8%. So 88.8% observation will lies between x bar minus 3 sigma and x bar plus 3 sigma. But we cannot compute x bar plus minus 1 sigma by this formula. The reason is k must be greater than 1. If I put k is equal to 1, this will become 0 because 1 minus 1 upon 1 square, that is equal to 0. So we cannot calculate the probability of x bar plus minus 1 sigma by using the Chebyshev theorem.
सर
जी, you can ask.
सर इसका कोई लिंक है, नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन से कोई लिंक है इसका?
हाँ, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट तुमने पूछा है। कौन बात कर रहा है इस वक्त?
सर रोहन।
रोहन जी। रोहन, बहुत अच्छा सवाल आपने किया है। इसका लिंक नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन से ये है कि दिस इज वैलिड। मैं इसको रिकॉर्डिंग में भी ले आता हूँ। ओके, आई एम रिपीटिंग। ये कोई डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के आ गई है स्लाइड में, नॉर्मल में जाके इसको बयान करता हूँ। देखिए ये एम्पेरिकल रूल कहलाता है और ये मैं यहाँ डिफाइन कर देता हूँ। ये रहे। आई एम जस्ट रिपीटिंग द प्रीवियस स्लाइड ऑफ
सर एक और क्वेश्चन है।
जी, पूछिए।
सर ये एम्पेरिकल रूल और उसका शेबिशेव का क्यों डिफरेंस आता है, कि मतलब स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन तो सेम है ना, पर डिफरेंस क्यों आता है फॉर द प्रोबेबिलिटीज?
देखिए, शेप की वजह से आता है ना। ये हमने कहा है, ये नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है। ये नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है। हम क्या निकाल रहे हैं? ये है क्या? ये एरिया है। 2 सिग्मा और 3 सिग्मा, 2 सिग्मा माइनस और प्लस 2 सिग्मा। ये इसको थोड़ा समझिए। देखिए, ये है आपका म्यू। नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में ये मीन है, म्यू। अच्छा, अब ये डिस्टेंस होता है सिग्मा। अगर मैं मीन में से सिग्मा माइनस करूंगा तो दिस पॉइंट आई हैव, दिस इज कॉल्ड मीन माइनस सिग्मा। और अगर मैं मीन में सिग्मा ऐड कर दूंगा, यानी इतना डिस्टेंस, तो आई विल हैव मीन प्लस सिग्मा। तो in between mean minus sigma and 2 points I have right now. One point is this, other point is this. And what is this area? This area. How much is the percentage of this area? Well, it is 95. No, it is 68.26%. This area is 68.26%. This is. In case of 2 sigma, so if it was sigma, then 2 sigma will be here. I am just changing the pen. It is 2 sigma and it is 2 sigma. So this is mean minus 2 sigma, this is mean plus 2 sigma, and the area will be what? This blue area. This blue area is 95%. 3 sigma will be where? If it is sigma, this is 2 sigma, 3 sigma will be here. I'm changing the pen here again. It is down. It is 3 sigma. And it never touches the x-axis. It never touches the x-axis because it has a horizontal asymptote. It is mean minus 3 sigma and this is mean plus 3 sigma and the probability is 99. So your question was what? Your question was why the probabilities are different by the two rules. The reason is in case of this distribution. Suppose this is the distribution. We are interested in mean minus 3, mean plus 3 sigma. This is mean plus 3 sigma. This is mean minus 3 sigma. Mean minus 3 sigma. So you can see that the most of the area we lost here because the density of the function, mostly the density is here. So I lost the maximum density. In case of normal distribution, I have lost a very few density. तो ये जो मैं छोड़ रहा हूँ एरिया, यहाँ पे तो देखो थोड़ा सा ही छोड़ा है, इतना सा छोड़ा एरिया। लेकिन यहाँ पे जब मैंने छोड़ दिया, मीन माइनस ये बड़ा एरिया था जो छोड़ दिया मैंने। तो इस वजह से इसका एरिया, जब मैं चेबीशेव में बात करता हूँ ना, तो चेबीशेव मुझे मिनिमम एरिया बता देता है। वो ये कहता है इससे ज़्यादा हो सकता है। जितने जैसे जैसे मैं शेप को सीधा करूँगा, ये करूँगा और शेप को ऐसे करूँगा, तो एरिया बढ़ता चला जाएगा। और जब मैं नॉर्मल पे आ जाऊँगा, मैक्सिमम एरिया नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होता है। तो इसीलिए हम नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन को स्टैंडर्डाइज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कहते हैं और इसको हर एक जगह पे हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं फॉर कंपैरिजन पर्पसेस। जी, if anyone have question, you can take the question. Otherwise, I will complete the today's presentation right now. फिर इंशाल्लाह जो बचा हुआ टॉपिक है वो आगे कवर कर लेंगे। जी, any query, any question? If I have, if you have.
सर तो अगर शेबिशेव थ्योरम हमें मिनिमम एरिया बताता है तो एम्पिरिकल रूल से क्या हमें टोटल एरिया मतलब कंफ्यूजन के एम्पिरिकल रूल से कौन सा एरिया बता रहा है?
देखें, एम्पेरिकल रूल जो है ये एक्यूरेट एरिया बताता है, लेकिन ये अप्लाई सिर्फ सिमेट्रिकल शेप के लिए होता है। ये अगर हमारी सिमेट्रिकल शेप ना हो तो हमें ये प्रोबेबिलिटीज़ जो हम यहाँ निकाल रहे हैं ये सारी की सारी प्रोबेबिलिटीज़ गलत होती हैं, क्योंकि ये प्रोबेबिलिटीज़ इनसे कम होगी। तो इसलिए अगर आपकी शेप आप देखें सबसे पहले, अगर शेप जैसे मैंने आपसे पहले भी कहा था कि हम बहुत सारे केस में क्या करते हैं, सबसे पहले डेटा की नॉर्मेलिटी चेक करते हैं। क्यों करते हैं? उसकी वजह यही है, अगर डेटा नॉर्मल होता है तो ये परसेंटेजेस वैलिड हो जाती हैं, और जब ये परसेंटेज वैलिड हो जाती है हमें हाई एक्यूरेट रिजल्ट्स मिल रहे होते हैं। इसमें हमारी जो आपने तो अभी सुना होगा 6 सिग्मा तक का भी हम देख रहे होते हैं। 6 सिग्मा हाई एक्यूरेट प्रोडक्शन के अंदर अमूमन इस्तेमाल होता है, या क्वालिटी कंट्रोल में इस्तेमाल करते हैं 6 सिग्मा। तो व्हाट इज 6 सिग्मा? इट इज़ मीन माइनस 6 सिग्मा, मीन प्लस 6 सिग्मा, मीन प्लस 6 सिग्मा। तो जब ये आप देख रहे हैं कि 3 सिग्मा पे ये 99.9 हो गया, तो कितना एक्यूरेट ये होगा 6 सिग्मा पे आने के बाद? तो मोर और लेस ये 1 के करीब चला जाएगा और प्रोबेबिलिटी 1 हो जाएगी। जी, मैं मेन कैंपस के जो स्टूडेंट थे, आई एम थैंकफुल टू द मेन कैंपस स्टूडेंट के वो आउट ऑफ द वे इस क्लास में आए हैं, क्योंकि उस रोज़ मैं अवेलेबल नहीं था और तबीयत कुछ बेहतर नहीं थी। इस वजह से मैंने वेडनेसडे की क्लास नहीं ली थी, लेकिन जो लेक्चर मुझे वहाँ देना था वो यहाँ रिकॉर्ड भी हो गया है। मैं ये रिकॉर्डिंग लगा दूंगा। जो स्टूडेंट नहीं आए हैं मुझे उनसे कोई शिकवा नहीं है, क्योंकि यहाँ आपको पता है कि आईबीए के अंदर जिसको पढ़ना है वो पढ़ लेगा और जिसको रिकॉर्डिंग देखनी है वो देख लेगा। लेकिन अटेंडेंस, मैंने अगर मेरी अपनी क्लास होती तो मैं कहता कि जी हाँ आप करें मैक्सिमम अटेंडेंस, क्योंकि मैंने आपको लास्ट टाइम भी मोटिवेट किया था कि ठीक है आईबीए ने अटेंडेंस वेव कर दी है, लेकिन मेरी कोशिश ये है कि स्टूडेंट मेरे साथ साथ चले, क्योंकि यही आपके लिए बेनिफिट भी है। अगर आप एक दफ़ा मेरे साथ साथ इसको लर्न कर लेंगे टॉपिक को, और एक दफ़ा आप खुद बाद में पढ़ लेंगे, तो आपको आसानी हो जाएगी। अच्छा, यहाँ तक कि जो टॉपिक्स आज कवर हो गए हैं